start off again, your anger is taken out on this thing right here. I had to fire a lot of people halfway through the shoot.
Why?
I had to shut down because they weren't listening to me, and it was very frustrating. And it's very frustrating. I didn't get, they told me they said, Lee, here's your money. Here's your little bit of money to make the movie. And so I was scrambling for crew that I ordinarily don't work with.
Right.
And this crew from New York, they didn't. Who was I? I'm not him.
Right.
I ain't him. I ain't him. I ain't her.
So you're getting rid of department heads in
Yeah.
the middle of the shoot.
Yeah, and it was pretty intense.
That's the moment you become a director. I remember we all sat and did a luncheon a couple months ago, and I remember you telling this story to all of us. And there was I remember this energy bolt that went through all of us, because we all know that moment when we're supposed to do something. And we know it seems impossible, but we know it's the right thing for the film. And that is one of those director-making moments when you decide, I know how painful this is going to be, I know how humiliating it might be, and how much work it'll be, but this is the right thing. And this is the moment I become a director and make a good film versus being a mediocre director.
What was your moment? I want to hear your moment. What was your moment? Do you recall it?
I think my moment on my film was to shoot my film in 5 cities and in 4 international airports, where there was this kind of clampdown of, look, you could make this movie. Look, Jason, you make talkie movies. They're about people who just talk to each other. You could really put them anywhere. And I know you want to shoot a lot of airports, and that's important to you, but why don't we just shoot this in 1 city? Why are you making such a big deal about this? And I thought about it. I thought, yeah, could I make this movie in 1 city, and I could probably get a lot of airports to one airport to look like a few, but I finally held my ground. I decided.
You said, Dad, I'm not.
No, I said Paramount.
First round to John.
This is.
Ooh.
It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
Woo. I said, this is right for the film, and it's gonna be some more money, but this is the whole world for this film. This is what this character loves. He loves traveling, and we need to see America. And they went for it, and they backed me, and it was worthwhile.
Jim, I'm wondering, and Katherine and Quentin, if there's a moment on the making of your current movies where you had a similar kind of crisis or the big decision where you had to, become a director on that movie.
Oh, and not so much on this movie. I think the moment he's talking about is more like something that happens more like Lee earlier on in your career, where you're not going to be a hack director. You're going to be an artist, and you can fail, and this could not work, and this could all fall apart, but you're going to do your thing. And at the end of the day, to me, it actually wasn't about filming Reservoir Dogs. It was Harvey Weinstein has bought Reservoir Dogs now. Right. And Harvey goes, okay, so here's the thing, Quentin. I think that you've got a mainstream hit here, but you've got this torture scene, and it just cuts everybody's head off. It's the thing that takes the movie and takes it out of it takes it from a popular entertainment that anyone could enjoy and makes it this niche thing that nobody's going to see. All the women in America will walk out when that scene happens. So, I want you to cut that scene. Now, that's a sequence where, I'm here, and the thing about it is, when the devil comes to you, he doesn't come to you with horns. You like the devil. You want the devil to like you. You want the devil to think you're reasonable, all right? So the thing is, Harvey is coming as this wonderful papa who is offering me the world. All I have to do is get along. And that the day I became the director that I am now is when I said, I'm sorry, Harvey, but that's not the movie I made. That's not the movie I want to make. We're keeping in the torture scene, and that's just the way it's going to be. Bravo. And then there was like a beat, and he goes, well, okay, then we're going to leave in the torture scene. I want you to remember there was Miramax who said yes. All right. but that was the difference between me being somebody else and me being who I am now.
And is that also why you're still loyal to Harvey?
Very, very much so. Okay. Very much so. There's a lot of reasons
why
I'm
I'm
loyal to Harvey, and that's one of them.
Right.
Katherine, can you top that?
I can't top that. No, but Near Dark was a film that I wrote together with Eric Red, and I wrote it to direct. So I owned it, wrote it on spec. And I gave it to a producer, who shall remain nameless, who said, and this was at a time, I was rubbing 2 pennies together. I had like half a can of tuna fish and a bottle of stale water in the refrigerator, that was it. Couldn't pay rent, I was in a condemned building. And he said, I'll give you a lot of money for the script. I want to buy the script. I said, no, 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 I don't want to sell it. I want to direct it. No, 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 that'll never happen. Bad career move. So, fine, hung up the phone. 3 days later, he called back. He said, all right, I'll let you direct it if I can fire you after the first day of dailies. And the first day of dailies has to be a really difficult, you know, I can't just have two people talking in a coffee shop. So I put together the scene where, I don't know if how well you know the movie, but where they trap the guys in the abandoned motel. Okay. And Severin gets hit by the bolt of light, and, you know, anyway, so so I kept my job.
Wow, that's great. Jim, did you have one early in your career?
This was right at the beginning. This is before I directed Terminator, which was, you know, really my first film. I'd gotten fired off Piranha 2 after a few days, so I kind of don't count that. So John Daly of Hemdale is financing the film, and we were
Financing Terminator.
Terminator,
Right.
yeah. And we were literally a few days from starting, and I was very prepared. I had everything storyboarded. I was ready to go. Daly sort of reads the script a few days before we start shooting, and he wants to have a story conference. And Gail Hurd just went off the hook and said, you can't have a story conference. He said, no, no, I have to talk about this guy that comes from this other planet. And we said, what other planet? He comes from the future, you know. So Gail just blew up. She stormed out of the room, so I said, all right, I'll come in. I'll meet with Daly. And I hadn't sort of put this together like a plan, but I had been with the prop guy. We're getting ready to shoot. I'd been with the prop guy earlier in the day, and I'd been looking at the props, and I liked this .45 automatic, and I took it with me, empty gun. In fact, it wouldn't even fire. It was a prop gun, but it looked real. It was a real weapon. It just had the barrel stoppered. And I was going to do a sketch for the poster, you know, the poster with the gun, because I always believed, you know, in doing the poster ahead of time and imagining how the movie would be sold. So I had it in my briefcase, but it wasn't part of a plan. So I go in, I sit down in front of Daly's desk, and he says, yes, I just want to talk about this man that comes from the future, and I don't really understand, you know, this and that about the story. And I just was like a flash. I just opened the briefcase. I took the script out, set it on his desk. I took the .45 out, I set it on top of the script. I said, I'm prepared to discuss anything. He got up, he left the room. He said, you can't do that, I'm the producer. I said, I'm not doing anything. And he fled the room, and we shot the movie exactly as it was written. Now, I probably couldn't get, that's a true story, but I don't think I could get away with that these days.
No, in the NBA, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not in Hollywood.
That's funny.